CENTER Maine is partnering with the Maine-Monitor to bring you stories being done by some of the journalists at this nonprofit independent publication. We'll be bringing you a new story each Monday. Today, we're talking about medical research in Maine and how funding changes could affect that work. Over the past decade, 3 federal agencies have funded millions of dollars in health and medical research at Maine research institutions, universities, and other organizations. But the Trump administration has threatened significant cuts, throwing the research community into uncertainty. Emily Bader is a healthcare reporter, and the Maine-Monitor just published her story, taking a closer look at what this funding has supported over the past 10 years. Emily, thanks for being with us again.
Thank you.
So where in the federal government is the funding coming from? And then where in Maine is it going to?
Yeah, so I took a look at the money that's coming from the National Institutes of Health, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and the Food and Drug Administration. Now, these are 3 institutions that provide a lot of funding for public health and biomedical research, but the vast majority of the funding that I found is coming from NIH. So these are going to research institutions like the Jackson Laboratory in Bar Harbor, Mount Desert Island Biological Lab, the University of Maine, University of New England, going to a whole range of institutions across the state. And I also just want to caveat is other federal funding that provides grants for research or other programs, but my reporting focused on these 3 institutions.
And what kind of research is being funded?
There is a whole range. So I pulled data from the past 10 years, and we're talking about over $1 billion in funding. So this is looking, some of these projects include at Jackson Laboratory, which pioneered the use of mouse models in biomedical research. They have a project that's phenotyping mouse genes. Now, I'm not a scientist, but as I understand it, this is incredibly important to scientific research. Humans and mice share about 20,000 genes, and so they are really helpful proxies for studying diseases like muscular dystrophy or cancer. There's also funding to a project based at Mount Desert Island Biological Lab called the Maine Biomedical Research Network, and this is a consortium of 17 institutions across the state that provide funding for early career scientists to begin their research, and it also provides opportunities for undergraduates to get research experience in the hopes that they then become interested in STEM careers and maybe even stay in Maine to pursue those careers.
That said, you kind of answered it, but who's at risk if Maine loses this funding?
So there's a lot that's at risk. It's kind of hard to say exactly who this will affect because as we know from seeing the news the past week, things are changing by the minute, things are happening piecemeal. But this research is really affecting a lot of areas in Maine. I mean, a good portion of this money is going to Jackson Lab, but and so far I've not heard if any of their funding has been cut. But for example, this biomedical research network, this is a really critical component to upholding or supporting a biomedical research network in Maine. This was a program that was a national program started by Congress in the 90s. And it's meant to improve geographical opportunities for scientists, and particularly in rural states. So say if they lose that funding or if some that's cut, then that's cutting opportunities for the next generation of scientists.
So this encompasses a lot. Emily, thank you for sharing this with us.
Thank you.
And you can read the full story and find much more at the-maine-monitor.org.